Hello, hi guys. Welcome to my little corner of my balcony and my little corner of the internet. I'm very excited to see you today. As you can see, this is not my usual setup. I was like, do I even have a usual setup? I do. I'm outside. I'm on my balcony, so there will occasionally be sounds from the outdoors. They should not be too loud, I hope. I really wanted to film outside today because this morning it was raining and I thought it would be such a cute, cozy video to film on a balcony while it's raining, and then the rain stopped. And now I think it might be coming back again, so we'll see. But yeah, I just felt like being outside today for this video. And without further ado, I'm going to tell you what today's video is. Crows. As a bilingual person, as a bilingual person that speaks two languages, and both of them I don't speak that well, I've been fascinated with proverbs. Okay? If you don't know what proverbs are, I have a Wikipedia page open right here. I'm sure you know, but just to read you a proper official description. So, a proverb is a simple, traditional saying that expresses a perceived truth based on common sense or experience. If I were to describe what proverbs are from my mind, I would say that these are sayings and phrases that are different in all of the cultures, and they're usually meant to teach you some sort of lesson, and I guess you can refer to them as quotes, phrases, sayings. It's all kind of falls under that proverb description. So what I really love about them, again, is that they're different in every single language, and they will mean the same thing, but they will sound different. And it almost tells you a story of what the culture is like. And so as I moved to Canada and I was speaking to my English speaking friends, I've noticed some of the sayings that they say, and I've kind of caught that similarity, or the opposite, the dissimilarity, the differences of these sayings. So I always found that super interesting and super fascinating, and I'm rambling on way too long. So for today's video, I thought it would be a really fun idea to read you some of the examples of proverbs in English and in Russian that all mean the same thing, but they are different. They sound different, and it's very, very interesting. So I have here a list of a bunch of different proverbs in both of these languages. I'm going to read them to you, and then in the end I have a little game where I'm going to read you a translation of a Russian proverb, and I want you to try to take a guess of what it is in English. Or if you are a Russian speaking person who's watching this video, you can hear the proverb in Russian and still try to guess what it is in English, if that makes sense. But we're going to start with me reading you a proverb, a classic phrase in English. Then I'm going to say it in Russian, and then I'm going to read you a literal translated version from Russian to English. So these examples here, I found them kind of funny. A bunch of them I found off of the internet, so I know these phrases, but I couldn't necessarily tell or know how exactly they translate. So found a lot of them on the internet. Some of them I translated myself. So none of this is like, this is 100% what this saying is. It's kind of like all over the place, but I think it's pretty accurate. So we're going to start. We are going to start with the proverb, Rome wasn't built in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. And very shortly, what that means to me is that any achievement, any goal, that you have that you want to work on, it's normal for it to take time. We want things to kind of get done like fast. But the reality is that big things, especially meaningful things, they take time. Okay, so now I'm gonna say it in Russian. In Russian, this would sound like Первый блин комом. Первый блин комом. It's very funny because it means the first pancake is always lumpy. I don't know if it's a direct translation, again, from Rome wasn't built in a day, but it kind of translates the same meaning that you're going to fail. The first time, the first couple of times, it takes time to build Rome. Okay. We're moving to the next one. The next one is a classic, no pain, no gain. Not much I need to say here. You have to put in effort to... It's very similar to Rome wasn't built in a day, right? You have to put in effort to achieve something. In Russian, it sounds like «Без труда не выловишь рыбку из пруда». I love all of the Russian proverbs because they rhyme in Russian. So it's «Без труда не выловишь рыбку из пруда». It's kind of like a tongue twister. Anyways, it translates to without effort, you won't even pull a fish out of a pond. Fair enough. Okay. Moving on to, this one is so funny to me, okay? This one's so funny. Too many cooks in the kitchen spoil the broth. Okay, we all heard that before. When there's too many people trying to do the same thing, it gets kind of crowded. It's not very efficient. So in Russian, it sounds like «У семи нянек дитя без глазу». «У семи нянек дитя без глазу», which translates to 7 nannies end up with a one-eyed child. See how that's so fun, like how different that is? Too many cooks in the kitchen, and in Russian it's like 7 nannies, you know, their child ends up having one eye. Anyways, I love this one. Okay, I had to change my sitting position a little bit because I started to lose the sensitivity and the feeling in my legs. And I thought it was a thunderstorm, but I think it's an airplane. Anyway, this one is kind of weird. So, you know how when someone's about to go and perform on stage, normally you would tell them to break a leg for good luck, which is so weird to me. Okay, like why would you tell someone to break a leg? Like I don't know how that makes sense. But in Russian, it makes even less sense. So it kind of happens in a dialogue way. It's like both sides. So you would say this one particular phrase to a person and they will respond, okay? So normally if you want to wish someone luck, you would say «Ни пуха, ни пера». And that person will say «К черту», which means neither fluff nor feather. And then the person responds with go to the devil or go to devil. I don't know how that makes any sense, but in Russian, that's what we say. Okay, let's move on to the early bird gets the worm. This one, I love this saying in English. It's actually so inspiring to me personally. The early bird gets the worm. I'm not an early bird, okay? In Russian, it's a bit controversial. In Russian, it says, «Кто рано встает, тому Бог подает», which means, who gets up early gets a gift from God. So you're either a bird and you get a worm, like the best top choice of a worm in the morning, or you get a gift from God, which for some people might be the worm. Anyways, next up, don't count your chickens until they hatch. Okay, I don't know if that's a super common one, but that's what I found on the internet. Okay, don't count your chickens until they hatch means don't say that you have something until you actually have it. That's kind of what I think about it. And in Russian, it is «Не говори гоп, пока не перепрыгнешь». «Не говори гоп, пока не перепрыгнешь», which translates to don't say hop until you stick the landing. So don't be like, oh, like hop until you stick the landing, okay? If that makes sense. Okay, next one. You know when someone just says sleep on it, you know, like it's the nighttime, it's the evening, you're stressing out or you need some sort of big decision to make and it just feels like all too much. One of my favorite sayings that is not a part of this video, it's like nothing good ever happens after 11 p.m. I try to go to bed before 11 p.m. because I know that nothing good ever happens. So, you know when someone says sleep on it, because they're like, hey, just go to sleep and then the next morning it will feel better. It will be more clear. So, in Russian, it sounds as «Утро вечера мудренее», which is my favorite phrase. I love this phrase. «Утро вечера мудренее». And it means the morning is wiser than the evening. There's more wisdom in the morning than in the evening. Which is so true, okay? For me at least, it's so true. Okay, this one, the next one, I shared with my boyfriend and he said that it was really depressing. But like, just grow up, okay? Grow up. Anyways, I never really thought about this, but people do say love is blind. I guess it's about the fact that, I don't know if I believe in it, that love is blind, that you can love someone and it like blinds you. Perhaps, it could be true, it could be true. But in Russian, it sounds like «Любовь зла, полюбишь и козла». «Любовь зла, полюбишь и козла», which translates to love is evil, you may even fall for a goat. In Russian, sometimes when we want to insult someone, we call them козел. Like road rage, people use the word козел in road rage a lot, so we basically call someone a goat. Even though I love goats, and I wouldn't want to compare them to some bad people. Okay. This one I don't hear too often as well in English, but it goes like this. When pigs fly. I guess it means like something's never going to happen. Like it will happen when the pigs fly or something. Like it's impossible to happen. And in Russian it's super random. In Russian it's когда рак на горе свистнет. Когда рак на горе свистнет means when the crawfish whistles in the mountains. Okay? The pigs, it's not just about pigs flying. It's the crawfish up in the mountains and it has to whistle. Yep. I love this. I love this actually. This is so exciting. Okay. So this one is to be born with a silver spoon in your mouth. And again, I think to me it means when someone is really lucky. They're either born in a wealthy family or they may have survived an accident or something. They're lucky, okay? In Russian, it's родился в рубашке or родиться в рубашке, which means to be born in a shirt, okay? If the English people count having a silver spoon in your mouth as luck, Russian people count just barely having a shirt on as luck, okay? Okay, this one is also one of my personal favorites. Never do today what you can put off until tomorrow. And again, I don't hear it much these days because it's all about the grind set, okay? The grind set. In Russian, it's awesome. In Russian, it's «Работа не волк, в лес не убежит». Работа не волк, в лес не убежит. Which means, work is not a wolf. Work is not a wolf. It won't run off into the forest, okay? So you don't need to worry that much about work. It's not a wolf. It's not gonna run into the forest. You can always work tomorrow. Okay, and this is the last example before our game. And this one's not too interesting, but I'm gonna read it to you anyways. You know, when someone is holding on for their dear life, like they're either in a really stressful situation and they have to move through it and they're barely, like, they're holding on to their dear life, or they're actually holding on to their dear life. In Russian, we say вцепиться зубами, which means firmly bite into something. I just thought it was like interesting that in English it's like you're holding on. Like I'm picturing like a Mission Impossible movie, and Tom Cruise is like holding on to a helicopter, but in Russian it's like that, but you're like holding on with your teeth, which is very interesting to me. Okay, so I hope that was enjoyable, because next up we have a game called Guess the Proverb, okay? Guess the proverb. I'm going to read you first what it sounds like in Russian for fun and for my Russian-speaking viewers. And then I'm going to read what it translates to literally from Russian. And I'm going to give you some hints, and then I'm going to reveal the answer of what the English proverb is, okay? So the game is Guess the English Proverb. Okay. In Russian, it sounds like 7 раз отмерь, 1 раз отрежь. 7 раз отмерь, 1 раз отрежь. Which translates to measure 7 times, cut once. So you have to measure something 7 times before you cut it, which to me, it means really really check everything before you make that final cut, or before you make that final move. You got to kind of make sure that you have everything in place, because it's, you know, safer that way, or you can avoid fixing, like you can avoid some troubles or some problems later on if you just do it right the first time. So measure 7 times, cut once. What do you think? I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think about what that can mean, or what the proverb in English is. Okay, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so what I have written here, and I'm not saying this is the exact answer, you could have said something totally different, and please feel free to share your thoughts and answers in the comments. What I have written down here is better safe than sorry. That's kind of the best one that I could find, and it's so true. Better be safe and cut 7 times than, better be safe and measure 7 times than, you know, cut before measuring and be sorry. Okay, next one. In Russian, it is не делай из мухи слона. Не делай из мухи слона. In the literal translation is, don't make an elephant out of a fly. Just don't make an elephant out of a fly, come on. To me, it kind of means like, don't make something small bigger than it is. Don't blow things out of the proportion. Try to be reasonable. You know, we all sometimes tend to overthink and catastrophize certain situations. So don't make an elephant out of a fly. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to come up with an answer. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not counting properly. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was the worst counting, but this one's kind of easy, and it literally translates to don't make a mountain out of a molehill, which is cute. Like, you see that, the parallel there, like it's just different words but the same exact meaning. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. I think it's so cute. I think molehills, like, I don't live in a house, so I'm not annoyed by molehills, but I think that they're really cute when I see them. And moles actually are much smaller than I thought they were. Anyways, next up. The next one is под лежащий камень вода не течет. Под лежащий камень вода не течет. And the literal translation is, the water doesn't flow under a lying rock, or The water doesn't flow under a rock that's still. Does it make sense? The rock doesn't move, so the water doesn't flow under it. Right? To me, again, it means if you're not really taking any steps towards your goal, it's not gonna happen, right? Like the chances of it happening are much smaller. I think you have to at least take smaller steps to achieve, your goal in the end. Again, Rome wasn't built in one day. It's all those small steps. So to me, the water doesn't flow under lying rock means that you have to move, actually get some motion going in order to get the water flowing under you, get the movement, get the flow going. So I'm going to give you 1. I'm going to give you 2. I'm going to give you 3. I'm going to give you 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so what I have here is the water. So for the water doesn't flow under a lying rock, the English alternative is the sleeping fox catches no poultry. So the sleeping fox is not gonna catch any chickens. That's what it says. Okay. This one, again, is my personal favorite. В гостях хорошо, а дома лучше. В гостях хорошо, но дома лучше. Translates to, it's good to visit, but it's better at home. Yeah, like it's good to visit people, it's good to see friends, but it's so much better at home. It's very antisocial of me. But is there a phrase in English, like a common proverb phrase in English that, works out for this? It's kind of simple. Like people say this after coming back from a long trip. That's all I can say. This one's fairly simple, so I'm going to give you 5 seconds for this one. Give you 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I will accept home sweet home, but what I have written here is there's no place like home. Okay? Okay, moving on. This one, we're kind of getting into the more difficult territory. I have 3 more, and they're kind of more difficult. So put on your seatbelt, okay? This one is «Не пили сук, на котором сидишь». Or you can say «Не пили ветку, на которой сидишь», which translates to do not cut the branch on which you're sitting on. So picture this, you're sitting on a tree and you're like, I need some firewood, I need some wood, and you start to cut the branch that you're sitting on. So it's like, don't do that, okay? So, and this one is like, basically, this one's kind of hard to explain. If I were to explain don't cut the branch on which you're sitting on is like, maybe don't compromise yourself. In certain situations, try your best to not compromise yourself. Honestly, brain empty right now, so I don't know how else to explain it, but just think about it. Do not cut the branch on which you're sitting on. And I'm gonna count to 10. We got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4, we got 5, we got 6, we got 7, we got 8, we got 9, and we got 10. The hand stuff is so difficult for me, okay? It's difficult. Okay, so what I have here is do not bite the hand that feeds you. Does that make sense? Again, I hope it makes sense. Okay. Next 2. Actually, I have 3 more. Sorry. This one is kind of interesting. And I like it. It's very deep. Слово не воробей. Вылетит не поймаешь. Which translates to, the word is not a sparrow. You can't catch it once it's out. So you gotta be careful with what you say, because once you say it, you know, you can't take it back. You cannot take back what you say. I kind of just gave it away. Anyways, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds because I feel like I already gave it away, and I don't have a proper timing technique, and it's not very official, so I'm sorry about that. Okay, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, what do you think? Okay, what I have written down here is, what is said cannot be unsaid. And trust me, I know it sounds not interesting, but I actually looked it up, and it's an actual proverb, okay? Proverb. What is said cannot be unsaid. So that's it. Once you say it, it's out. Okay, this one is my favorite one because it's so weird. It's so weird, okay? But it goes like this. Любопытной Варваре на базаре нос оторвали. Любопытной Варваре на базаре нос оторвали. It's so hard for me to say this. I do speak Russian at home every day. Thank you very much. It translates to, nosy Varvara got her nose torn off at a market. Or, nosy Varvara got her nose ripped off at a market. What could that mean? Someone's being, nosy. Someone's being curious. Someone's being, I don't know. And they're trying to sneak and, maybe look at what is not their business or something like that. Guess what that can be. That explanation deserves like a F. Sorry about that. But can you guess what that can mean? Nosy Varvara got her nose ripped off at a market. She's too nosy. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 seconds. I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. What I have here is curiosity killed a cat, okay? The Russian version, we have a poor girl named Varvara who was nosy. She went to the market to sniff around to find the most latest gossip or something. And because she put her nose in other people's business, which is also a proverb, she, got it ripped off. And in English, it's very simple. Curious cat lost all its 9 lives. Okay, I'm being very poetic right now. I actually, while I was preparing to film this video, I remembered one more that I didn't write down. So I'm going to try to memorize it. Sorry, I'm going to try to just remember it and say it to you. So, in Russian, it sounds like «Дареному коню в зубы не смотрит». «Дареному коню в зубы не смотрит», which translates to, do not look at the teeth of a gifted horse. Do not look at the teeth of a gifted horse. Whatever that could mean, okay? It might not make any sense for you. It might be kind of difficult to guess what it is. Maybe you have guessed what it is already. And by the way, if you've guessed any of these proverbs before I said them, let me know in the comments. I'd love to read how smart you are. But if you already guessed what it can mean, to not look in the teeth of a horse which you've been gifted means beggars can't be choosers. I love this. I love this. This is so interesting to me. And that is why I wanted to make this videos, because I'm kind of passionate about this stuff. I'm passionate about names and how names sound in different languages, the parallels between names and the parallels between the proverbs in different languages. It's so interesting. You can really understand the culture or what the people have been going through, how the people have been taught since their childhood and that kind of stuff, and it's very fascinating. So this is the end of the video. I really hope that you found it interesting, that you found some of these things interesting, brilliant, funny. Yeah, Thank you so much for watching again. I know this is not my typical video, but I just kind of felt like doing something like this, and I hope you found it enjoyable. Again, please let me know in the comments if you know any other proverbs that translate into different languages. Whatever your native language is, if you have fun or interesting proverbs that translate weird into English, I would love to read about it. So please let me know. I'm probably going to read every single one of them and be happy because this stuff is so interesting to me. Let me know what you think of this kind of video, of just me being outdoors, just talking, kind of analyzing stuff. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Good night or good day. Bye.